final session. A fine woman, I will allow Odera to do that. Please, can you go ahead and introduce her?
Yes, we want to call on the person of Hajia Amina Mohammed, Managing Director, CEO, Ames Media Company Limited. Hajia Amina Mohammed is a seasoned media entrepreneur and broadcaster with over 4 decades of experience in Nigeria's media landscape. She holds a BSc in Mass Communication from the University of Ibadan and a postgraduate certificate from the University in the UK, with additional training from the Television College in Jos. She served the Nigerian Television Authority (NTA) for more than 32 years, creating several acclaimed programs, including the award-winning Today's Baby, Nigeria's first holistic baby show. Currently the Managing Director of CEO of Ames Media Company, she leads the production of indigenous and gender-focused content.
Thank you very much. And we are going to skip that of some of the panelists because their profiles have been taken earlier in the day. But we'll go straight to introduce Femi Adeyemo, who is the CEO, Energy. Please, is he here? Oh, please, can you welcome him to the... Thank you, you're welcome.
One of our panelists, Engineer Kolawale Ogun, please forgive me, Ejo. He is the Chief Technology Officer with over 3 decades of experience leading broadcast engineering across West Africa, an expert in station integration and playout systems. Ebaide Omiunu is a Nigerian lawyer, sustainability expert, and dynamic advocate for climate action and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. After being admitted to the Nigerian bar in 2014, she shifted her focus from law to systemic change.
Yes, Engineer Joseph Achibon is the Director of Engineering LTA. Is he here, please? Oh, it's being represented by who, please? Okay, is Engineer Abdurazak here? Oh, so
a round of applause for all of them.
So, ma'am, I hand over this to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Time is fast spent, so we just don't waste much time, and we go straight to. We got very ambitious, lining up several questions, but I'm tempted to just even set these questions aside and go straight to cerebral knowledge. So I want to beg the indulgence of the panelists to please summarize whatever answers that we're able to give, because people have been sitting, and I must commend everybody to have stayed this long. Do we have the bars? And he's no more here. Zimbabwe. He was meant to be. Okay, he wasn't called. Apologies. Was he called? Is Zimbabwe man supposed to be on this panel?
Yes, we mentioned him. Is he here?
Yeah, he's here.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sir. So sorry. Oh, we escaped that. I'm sorry, please.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so like the MC said, we are going to be looking at green media, and I want to commend the NBC for coming up with this topic. It's relevant to everybody, not just the broadcasters, the content creators, but you know, as broadcasters, we also need the eyeballs of the viewing public. So if they don't have power, then we are not, we're just winking in the dark. So the question we have here, like I said, they are numerous, but let us just hit the ground running. My first question, that's why I asked for the Zimbabwe man, you know, and he's been introduced. When we talk about green media, how do we, sharing your experience, broadcast transmission consumes quite a large amount of energy. What practical steps, using your own experience, can stations take to reduce energy usage without compromising signal quality? You know, when we transmit, we want to save energy, but we are mindful of the signal's dissemination to those who will watch us. Do you understand that? Do you have a microphone there? Kindly help me. Please kindly help us hit the nail on the head and summarize so that we can get across to everybody.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the first step is to go digital, right? If you look at the digital migration process itself, we used to have one television transmitter, say a 5 kilowatt or a 10 kilowatt transmitter transmitting one service. You can actually use a digital transmitter which can probably carry 6 television channels. So by using just one transmitter, you could save power in that you were supposed to use 6 transmitters, then you'll be able to use one. Then you also have efficient systems, like if you have IP networks or IP equipment which consumes less power, then it means that at the studio side you can actually put solar panels which will be able to be used for efficient use of your equipment in terms of content generation. The other thing is that if you then go green, it means you're also going to get stabilized power, which means your equipment which you have in your studio will receive clean power, and then it will last longer in terms of durability, because power which is coming is stable. So basically, if you use efficient systems, you save power and also try to use solar panels where possible. The other thing is we can also have, in terms of transmitters themselves, they draw a lot of energy. But at times, if you have small transmitters which can use as gap fillers in certain areas, you can actually use a solar system to harvest as Africa are blessed, because we've got plenty of these satellites which you can use for your solar panels and everything else.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for him. Okay, so let me come to Engineer Femi Adeyemo. Yeah. Okay, so he talked about solar, and I'm sure that is a familiar terrain for a lot of us. In fact, a lot of people, producers, have gotten so innovative and creative now that you have a micro one that even your home can power a laptop, telephone, and all of that, beyond the one that we have with the panel with. So how do you think we can use this solar? You know, sometimes from experience, this solar also have some form of limitations. They say they cannot, you break up some sockets that it cannot carry solar and all of that. So, I know broadcasting requires aeration, coolness. So how do you think we can rely on this solar as an alternative energy that cannot compromise transmission, and is it sustainable?
Thank you, Engineer, and good afternoon, everyone. Engineer Matthias has made my job easier. My name is Femi Adeyemo, and I'm the MD of a company called Hadeji. We've been around for 12 years. So based on what he had said, ensuring that number one, you've optimized and you're using efficient equipment. So on top of that, what you then need to do is to go solar. So you mentioned compartmentalizing or maybe having some sockets and all of that. Those were the days when grid was very cheap, petrol was cheap, and diesel was cheap. So people were more or less, oh, let me just do small because of the cost. However, what we have now, and it is interesting to say that as we speak now, our engineers are at the headquarters of New Central, where we're putting 430 kilowatt hour and about 250 kVA. And you know what that means. 250 kVA to more or less power the entire equipment. I have another partner in the industry that, I mean, we were talking a few days ago when I mentioned that NBC is having a program. And he told me that in Abuja, that communication, they showed me the panels that they put on the roof of that communication. So solar has moved from that thing that just power appliances or just power a few parts of the house We have supermarkets, we have hotels now where if you want 500, in fact, for people that live in Abuja, if you drink water in Abuja, that water treatment plant that serves water to the entire Abuja is a 500 kVA system. We powered it. So, with solar. And we've also gotten a step forward by saying, you know what, you don't have to, because the next thing people would say is, oh, it is expensive. We're saying, you know what, whatever you're spending today, if you're on Bandi or you're using diesel, you can pay us on a monthly basis. We'll bring the solar solution to your media house, and then over either it is 3 years, 5 years, you can spread the payments. Thank you. So it is sustainable. From month to one, you can see savings versus what you're spending today on diesel or on Bandi.
You know the fear of people is that it's extremely very expensive at initial cost.
That's why I'm saying that forget the initial cost. I don't need your initial cost. Tell me how much you're spending on Band-Aid or diesel today, and we'll save you 20% from month to one. Just pay us on a monthly basis.
Okay, thank you so much. Abiade, let me come to you. Is that the correct pronunciation of your name? Okay, so let's look at you have done quite a bit on advocacy and all of that. What role does partnership, what role does it play here? Particularly when we think of government role in the renewable energy initiative in greening broadcast infrastructures. Can you lend a voice to that?
Thank you very much. As we have been hearing all day, the word collaboration is something that I heard from the keynote addresses to the various panels that also held conversations. The very cliche saying, however cliche it is, you will agree with me that it says that once you're resilient, once you know what you're doing, you go far. But when you have to go with people, you go farther. The truth is you cannot beat partnership. The impact of partnership and collaboration in driving sustainable development, you cannot beat it. The truth is you might have a kind of resource and you need to get on the partnership to get more resources. You might have the money, you might not have the idea. And I have the idea and I don't have the money. You have the money, you have the visibility, and you perhaps even know how to drive it better. So imagine we all collaborate to drive a particular agenda. That is partnership in itself. And of course, you will grow better, you would be more impactful, and you can't beat it. So partnership is something that we all should take home. I mean, it's been belabored all day. The role of partnership and collaboration, even in the conversations today, when it has to do with the media integrity and of course accountability, and of course Shehu gave a very basic example of making phone calls to other colleagues to say, is this true? Is this okay? Can we go ahead and publish? That is partnership in a very basic way, but you can imagine how much we will all achieve if we decide partnership as a pathway towards sustainable development.
Thank you so much. Thank you for lending a voice to that. Now let me come to NTA. In the local parlance, they say, when children pose, they have more clothes than the elders. It is said that the elders will also say, if you have more clothes than us, do you have as much racks than us? So I will talk about analog equipment now. Coming to you, Engineer Razak Saka, Deputy Director Engineering, Nigerian Television Authority. How can legacy analog equipment be phased out responsibly to avoid environmental waste? You hear of e-waste, discarding the obsolete equipment. In this, our industry, equipment keep evolving. And you know that, for instance, there's exhibition going on now. If I go there now, maybe the equipment I have, they have been obsolete. And NTA is known, I'm not saying, I'm sure we have stock newer ones. NTA is known for keeping, thank God for the museums that we now send in fact I just donated some to the museums in NTA so that at least we can still keep them in the archives. So analog equipment, what do we do with them?
Yes, thank you. From where you stopped, we have the museum, where we have the old equipment. And we also have what we know as trading. For us to get new equipment, we trade in old equipment, give it to the manufacturers so they can dispose it properly. So those are part of what we do. We have the equipment. We still have some in use. Like for example, the transmitters, analog transmitters, we still have some in use. We're facing them out gradually, getting hybrid transmitters that can still do both digital and analog. The old analog transmitters, apart from the power consumption, they also have radiation, they generate a lot of heat. With the newer transmitters, they consume less amount of power and less amount of heat. You need a lesser cooling system, you consume lesser power, and you can aggregate signals. With one digital transmitter, you can aggregate as much as 16 signals as against the one signal within the analog transmitter.
Okay, a follow-up question to that is, I know that it's not all of them that we must keep as much as we have consumed. Let's look at disposal. How do we treat e-waste in terms of recycling, in terms of proper disposal, because they're quite classic from what I learned. Or do you want somebody else to talk about that? Do you still want to make an attempt on that?
Disposal.
Yes.
For like the ones that are recyclable, like batteries, for example, we have somebody coming to clear the batteries from all the stations across the country. But for the other equipment, those that can be disposed, we dispose. But recycling, since we don't do recycling, we're not into recycling, so we don't really do the recycling of those equipment. But if we can get somebody that can do recycling, we give it to them to dispose of.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm calling to my big uncle here, Engineer Kola Ogunshola, right? Is that correct? Ogunsholu, okay. Now let's go to the DJ has been magnanimous enough to compartmentalize and categorize all these questions. Let's look at studio production and content operations. What are some of the simple green studio practices that stations can adapt immediately so that we can save energy and maximize and sustain the green energy we're talking about?
Thank you very much for the question. And thanks MBC for bringing me up here to share my view. As regards studio operations and equipment in a broadcast environment, first of all, in terms of green media, I'll first of all define green media in broadcasting as regards the studio. Green media, for me, it's efficiency, it's safety. So long as you can have those ones and then put them aside, then you'll be able to define cost-saving processes. As regard equipment, like most of us have said, some of the analog equipment in the studios consumes a lot of energy. So what do you do in that regard is to change to digital, and now that we have IP environment, you can do a playlist, a playout automation rather than a tape deck, audio mixer. Everything is done on a PC, and you can really transmit efficiently. And also, you can also decide on the cost savings by technically doing what we call power auditing of your station, yes, of all the equipment, and decide which one will go with the solar that we are talking about, and then move them aside, isolate them and move them aside, and see how the ones that are low energy consumption can continue the operations, and then we can move forward to go entirely digital, which is cost effective at the end.